Hello, and a very warm welcome to yet another delightful edition of the program, Cac Weekly, a weekly program that keeps you abreast on the activities and the achievements of the Corporate Affairs Commission. I am Amina Jibril. Now, coming up, as the CAMA 2020 sanctions e-meeting, we put a searchlight on the concept. CAC complies with WHO dictates, administers second jab of COVID-19 vaccine to interested staff, plus Registrar General renews commitment to constant training and retraining of staff. We'll be right back after this break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Now we begin with health matters. In compliance with the dictates of the World Health Organization, WHO, which encourages government and agencies to ensure fair and equitable access to vaccines and ensure every country receives COVID-19 vaccine and roll them out to protect their people, starting with the most vulnerable, the Corporate Affairs Commission completed the administration of the second dose of the vaccine on interested staff. It would be recalled that the CAC had kick-started the rollout of the first dose of the vaccine on the 14th of April 2021. Now, the WHO on its part says, while it was working tirelessly with partners to, amongst others, deploy safe and effective vaccines, equitable access to safe and effective vaccines was critical to ending the COVID-19 pandemic. And while describing safe and effective vaccines as the game-changing tool, the WHO enjoined citizens to prioritize the habit of wearing masks, cleaning of hands, ensuring good ventilation indoors, social distancing, and avoiding crowds. WHO, however, said being vaccinated does not mean throwing caution to the wind and putting everyone at risk, particularly because research was still ongoing into how much vaccines protect not only against the disease, but also against infection and transmission. Cac Weekly reports that 280 staff were vaccinated during the first exercise, and as at the time of this report, a total of 190 staff received the second jab in the head office. Bukola Adeyomoye of Exceptional Health Integrated Service tells us more about the exercise.
Basically, what the second dose entails is for people to come in, submit their card, and that means they'll need to upload. They'll download the first details, the details that was entered for the first dose. When they download it, they will ensure that all the details are intact. The name, the date of birth, the address, your phone number. So once that is done, that is also to confirm that you actually got a first dose, because without the first dose, there's no way you will be given the second dose. So once all those are confirmed, they will collect an update on their system and send the enrollee to the nurse who now administer. You're fully vaccinated according to AstraZeneca vaccine, which directs right now that everybody must be vaccinated with the first and second dose.
Also, some of the recipients who spoke to Cac Weekly described the experience as pleasant and therefore enjoyed others to submit themselves for the free vaccination against COVID-19 pandemic.
Everything is based on someone's feeling. If you have that fear within yourself about it, I think after taking the vaccine, inside you, you're already feeling that you will have pain, or people, as many as people, they feel that many people will die, but still nothing happened. I encourage people to go out and take their vaccine. I did not notice any side effect within me, but I don't know about others. But for me, nothing.
My experience with the vaccine was peaceful, even though the first one that I took actually
Shook you?
Yeah, shocked me to the extent that I have to take paracetamol before I got okay. But the second dose that I took yesterday, honestly, it was okay. Nothing. I didn't experience any abnormal. It was okay and it was fine. Very beautiful. And I'm calling on each and every staff. to please submit itself and take the vaccine.
Well, my experience is awesome. It's good. I've not felt there's no side effect for me. Only that my fluid consumption increased, which is good for me and for the body. So aside from that, I didn't feel any side effect, and only a little cramp, which is usual after taking the jab. Aside from that, I'm good.
I took the second jab of the vaccine today. That's the 9th June 2021, and my experience is not an unpleasant one. It's pleasant as far as I'm concerned, and I have not felt any adverse effect of the vaccine on me, unlike what some of a few of my colleagues said about the effects. Of course, it varies from one system to the other. Our systems are not the same. The way we react to drugs or vaccines are not the same. So to that extent, I think it's a laudable thing in the commission. I have done the needful by taking the vaccine, and I will also want to encourage the people that are doubting it to take the vaccine.
And now, from improving the health of its greatest assets, we move on to the efforts the Commission is making to further improve the managerial quality of the workforce. On the 9th of June 2021, the CAC commenced the training of senior executive staff through a 3-day exercise titled Capacity Building on Strategic Management for Senior Management of the CAC. In a message to participants, the Registrar General and CEO of the CAC, Alhaji Garba Abubakar, enjoined them to leverage on the opportunity in order to impact positively on their quality of service and commitment to realizing the Commission's objectives. Participants at the event include directors and deputy directors drawn from all offices of the Commission around the country. Aisha Abubakar of Tarihan Integrated Services, organizers of the event, and the Director, Human Resources Department of the CAC, Olayemi Oyeni, spoke to Cac Weekly at the end of the exercise.
The theme is strategic management for senior staff of the Corporate Affairs Commission, and we're focusing on the senior management staff simply because it's essential for an emerging and evolving organization like the Corporate Affairs Commission to continuously empower or renew the skills of their staff with emerging trends. For example, now we just had COVID-19 in 2020. There must be a strategy to address the issues that have come up. There must be both for the staff themselves personally, as well as for the organizational development and growth. You have to be flexible enough to keep revolving, adapting new skills, on learning and learning, so that you keep your organization relevant in today's economy. We're anticipating that the participants would have chance to share experiences, particularly on their different desks, to be able to see how each person plays a significant role in the success of the Corporate Affairs Commission. Without you doing your own part, then the dots will not connect, and once the dots are not connecting, then there will be always a problem. So it is always essential to continue to have the strategy sessions so that staff remember, refocus, and re-energize themselves for success.
It's been a wonderful one. I've actually learned a lot. I've learned that as a leader, I need to be an innovator. I need to be an influencer so as to carry along the staff in order for them to be a problem solver, for them to provide solutions to issues arising in the Commission. I've learned that presently the Commission is delivering service and how to further enhance the service that the Commission is giving through strategy. We have to be strategic, position ourselves, bring up innovations in terms of the usage of ICT technology to further move the Commission forward.
Highlights of the event was the presentation of certificates to participants by the Registrar General and CEO of the CAC, Alhaji Garba Abubakar, represented by Mrs. Gertrude Akalunu, the Director, Customer Service. Let's now shift gears and talk about CAMA 2020, the game changer. On January 3, 2021, the CAC commenced the implementation of CAMA 2020, a robust framework which attempts to erase bottlenecks and simplify doing business in Nigeria. One of its many features is the e-meeting. CAC Weekly caught up with Olulokpe Adeola Shanaike, the Assistant Director, Registry Department, who brings us up to date on the wonderful initiative. Enjoy watching.
Many thanks for joining us again.
Thank you, Martina.
All right. Today we're going to be talking about something very interesting, the electronic meeting. You know, a lot of people will like, so ease, comfortability, and all. But before we go into that, why do companies need to hold meetings?
Now, a company, we must understand that a company, upon incorporation, is a person in law, though an artificial person. What that means is that it's not a natural person like you and I who can feel, who can sense. It cannot think for itself, it cannot speak for itself, it cannot see for itself. And that is why Section 87 says that companies act through their organs, right? They think, they see, they hear, they act through certain organs, you know, and the primary organs are two as identified.
Okay.
Members at general meeting. When members sit in a general meeting, you call that the company meeting.
Okay.
Now, members can think and take decisions and then act upon those decisions or give directives for actions. The other organ is the directors as a board.
Okay.
We call them board of directors.
Okay.
Now, the company can also think and act through them. They sit down. You know, they are the ones who exercise direct control over the company. The shareholders are the owners, so they just say, okay, the agency theory, we are the owners, but let's commit the company to the hands of certain persons who are known as the board of directors.
Okay.
So those ones too can think for the company.
Okay.
They can act for the company.
Okay.
Now, the powers of the general meeting, that's members in the general meeting, and of the board of directors, as provided for in the Act. The Act specifies what each organ can do.
Okay.
There are instances where...
I'm sorry to jump in here. We also have something like committee of the board.
Yes.
That's the third
yes,
organ.
I was going to come to that. I was going to come to that.
Okay.
Now, I'm still... Because these are the primary organs.
So, okay.
These ones derive their powers directly from the Act or from the articles. So the articles can say, okay, members, it will need members meeting to do this, to decide this, to do this. It can say in certain cases like this and this and this, directors can act. Now, the third one you are talking is another level, and that is a delegated organ, right? The law also allows sections 87 and 289 that directors can delegate their powers to committees, right? So why it is not a primary organ, it is a delegated authority.
Okay.
So
who constitutes this committee?
It is the board.
Okay.
It is the board.
Okay.
You know, the board can delegate its powers generally to the chief executive officer, who we call the managing director, or to committees. You know, because the board cannot by itself directly just run the company. So it will have to walk through some other organs, committees. And this is important because there are many aspects to company administration. And diversity and inclusion will help you, you know, particularly your governance aspect of it. So you have committees which will be made up of members of this board of directors. To each committee will have a director, at least one, you know, as its members. Now, the powers of the committees, like I said, is derived from the board of directors.
Okay. Yeah. But meetings will apply to big companies, not a one-man company, or the private companies, isn't it?
like you just asked, a man cannot hold a meeting with himself.
That's what I'm
If
asking.
you are just a single. So the exemptions, yes, to meetings will only apply in the case of it's the single member company. The single member company, right? But generally, the law recognizes 3 types of meetings for companies, and they are all described as general meetings, right? The first one is what you call the statutory meeting. Now, that is required under Section 235 of the Act, that all public companies, this applies only to public companies, right? And the companies must hold, public companies that is, must hold this meeting within 6 months of its incorporation, right? So that applies only to public companies. So if you're a private company, you don't need to hold a statutory general meeting. Now, the other kind of meeting is what you call the annual general meeting. Now, the annual general meeting applies to all companies except small companies and companies with single member. In other words, a one-man company does not have to hold an annual general meeting. A small company, the definition of a small company is prescribed in the law. I mean, this must be a private company. In other words, a public company can never, under any circumstance, qualify as a small company. Its membership, the ownership, must not include foreigners, whether corporate foreigners or individual foreigners. Its membership must not include government or government's agency. Now, its turnover must not exceed, for this year at least, 25 million naira.
That's the private company.
For the company to be a small company, it must be private. And its net asset must not exceed 12.5 million. Now, with the issue of turnover and net asset,
yes,
it is as prescribed
so
by the Finance Act.
if I make a 50 million,
yes,
so I can hide the 25.
No, you cannot.
And then come and declare, since it's not supposed to be more than 25 million.
No, you cannot. I mean, in your own interest, there are reasons why a company should ensure that its financial statements are true. Now, annual general meetings, these small companies are not mandated to hold them, as well as same as companies with single member. Now, there's the other one you call the extraordinary general meeting. Now, these are meetings that you must hold at least one meeting in the year that you must describe as the annual general meeting for that year.
Okay.
Right. Now, there is also the extraordinary general meetings. Issues cannot wait until the next annual general meeting before they are resolved. And for that purpose, a company can convene what you call extraordinary general meetings. Now, that is also a meeting where you have members. Okay, all these meetings are meetings that members must sit at.
Okay.
That's why they are called general meetings. But even with the single member thing, the law obligates that member, when he takes a decision that will ordinarily have been taken in a general meeting, or will have effect as if taken in a general meeting, the law obligates the member to provide the details of those decisions to the board.
Okay.
Right? So you find that even where the single member company does not have to hold general meetings, they still have to notify the board, because a single member company can have a board that is made up of 2 directors or more. Right? So the board still has to know that such decisions have been taken for its own records.
Okay, so now let's go to the CAMA 2020, like so many innovations and, invention features. The CAMA 2020 allows for electronic meeting or the e-meeting that we do. Now, the question will be, what is this e-meeting or electronic meeting is all about? What does it intend to achieve?
Okay, now the electronic meeting indeed is a new feature, in company administration, and governance, introduced by Section 240, subsection 2 of CAMA, Company and Allied Matters Act, the 2020. What e-meetings mean is simply electronic meetings, meetings that you hold online in the virtual space, as opposed to the physical in-person meeting. Right. Now, talking about the objectives, what does the law seek to achieve?
Before we go to that, some people will say CAMA 2020 is really futuristic. It saw the coming of COVID, that everything has to be online. We saw a new wave of online Zoom meetings and all of that.
I mean, I would say it's rather like an epiphany. It should have appeared. I mean, at the time this law was being put together, truth was that nobody foresaw the coming of COVID. Nobody knew COVID was going to happen. But what was clear in the global economy and generally in the social space was that the future of the world, the future of the economy, the future of interaction and social relations was going to depend on digitalization. It was clear from a long time that you need to digitalize to promote efficiency in the way you do things and to reduce cost in the way you do things. Those who leverage technology earlier than now, I mean, really are those in the frontiers of their respective areas. You know, what COVID did was just to accelerate the onboarding of this thing for many organizations. So while we were doing it, while the law was being reviewed at that time, because this law started way back, more than 12 years before its signing. Right? So at that way back, I mean, we had seen that we need to leverage technology. That was the way the whole world was going, you know, best practice. So what the idea then was, look.
So COVID only created the urgency.
Yes. It only accelerated its implementation. Now, the objective was to make governance, you know, governance of institutions, companies, simpler and more efficient, right? And this you do by, one, it reduces the cost. Imagine how much companies spend every year to organize annual general meetings, you know, because they have to meet. And when you say they have to meet, both the companies and the members themselves incur cost. You know, the cost of having to get to the venue, the cost of even renting the venue, accommodation, transportation, feeding, you know, and all of that. Those are costs.
And with the security situation, people are very reluctant to
do that. So you find that, like I said, maybe, yes, you said we were seeing the future. Nobody knew Nigeria was going to be like this, I mean, in terms of security. But then, this will also help you navigate that challenge, you know. So it will reduce costs. And then, secondly, it will make it more accessible for members. A situation where you take, there is no way you take your general meetings, your annual general meetings, particularly for large companies. It is unlikely that every member will attend, you know, for logistics reasons. But when it is virtual, anybody with internet access from any location can connect and join in the meeting. And it is not an obligation. It is a choice. You know, so the companies can decide that they want to hold their meetings electronically. They can also decide that they want to still stay with the old-fashioned method of doing physical meetings. If they can afford it, why not? You know, but that window is always open for them. So you have more people participating in the virtual process. Yes. So you see that it enhances stakeholder engagement and transparency, you know, and it also promotes the sense of ownership that I'm part of the system. Then it also helps,
which is more important.
Which is very important. That this is our company, not your company. You know, and then you find that it will also help us align our regulatory framework, you know, with best practices, you know, all over the world. I mean, electronic meetings have been embraced, you know, for companies. So, and you know that there's a global economy now. You cannot afford that your economy.
That's a digital economy,
should be, while others are walking and running, you are crawling.
Are all companies obliged to hold electronic meetings?
No.
There's a caveat somewhere?
Yes. Electronic meetings are only available for private companies. Only for private companies, for their general meetings, right? But for board meetings, since Section 289 of the Act allows the directors to regulate their own proceedings, right? Right. The directors can hold their meetings electronically. They can hold. There's nothing in the law that says they cannot do that. Well, as far as company meetings are concerned, by company meetings I mean general meetings, only private companies can hold.
Why is the law biased?
Perhaps they should have gone, the drafters and the makers of the law should have gone ahead to make it applicable to them. Because what COVID has also taught us is that those that really need that option today are public companies. because it is for them that you have more than 50 people gathering in a meeting and all of that. So they are the ones that actually need some other options, some other window to be able to do what they need to do under the law.
Okay. Mr. Tolu Kweshananke, always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much, Madina.
All right.
And on that note, we wrap up this week's edition of the program, CAC Weekly. We do hope you enjoyed watching. Now, for comments and inquiries, please take advantage of our social media handles and our helplines. You can visit our Instagram and Facebook at Corporate Affairs Commission. Our email is at cservice@cac.gov.ng. Visit our website at www.cac.gov.ng, and our helplines are on the numbers 081-822-99016 or 081-822-98971. 090-874-01598 or 090-874-01599 and 090-874-01600. Join us next week for another interesting edition of the program. Same time, same station. From me, Amina Jibril, and the whole team here, it is bye for now.